Mazi Okafor was a respected man in the village, known for his wealth and wisdom. He had 3 wives, Nneka, his first and most respected, Ebere, the second, who always struggled to keep her place, and Amara, the youngest and most favored. Ebere's greatest pride was her daughter, Adaku. She had raised Adaku to be the most beautiful and well-mannered girl in the village, hoping she would marry into a powerful family. But all her dreams shattered when Adaku became pregnant out of wedlock. It started with Emeka, a young man from a neighboring village. They met in secret, whispering under the moonlight. But one careless night changed everything. Months later, Adaku's body began to change. At first, she tried to hide it, but soon, her growing belly betrayed her. Ebere was furious. "You have brought shame upon me," she hissed, but her anger quickly turned into fear. If the villagers found out, Adaku would be disgraced. Their family name would be stained. Ebere could not let that happen. "Nobody must know about this child," she whispered. She hid Adaku in their hut, claiming she was sick. As her belly grew larger, Ebere moved her to a small abandoned hut in the forest. There, on a cold and lonely night, Adaku gave birth. The labor was painful, but at last the baby boy arrived, his cries filling the night. Adaku gazed at him with tear-filled eyes. He had her nose and Emeka's eyes. "Mother," she whispered, "what will we do now?" Ebere's face was cold. "We cannot keep him. The village will disgrace us. He must disappear." Adaku's heart pounded. "No, please." But Ebere had already wrapped the child in a cloth. That night, while Adaku wept, they carried him deep into the bush and left him beneath a tree. "Someone will find him," Ebere said firmly. "Let's go before anyone sees us." With one last look at her child, Adaku turned away. Early the next morning, Mama Nkem, an elderly woman, went to her farm. As she walked through the bush, she heard a faint cry. She followed the sound, pushing aside the tall grass. And there, beneath a tree, lay a tiny baby. "Chineke," she gasped. She picked him up, holding him close. The baby whimpered, then relaxed in her arms. "This is an abomination," she murmured. "Who would abandon a child like this?" Without hesitation, she hurried to the palace. The Igwe and his chiefs gathered. The baby was placed before them, and whispers filled the air. Who could do such a thing? The palace chief priest stepped forward. He closed his eyes, muttering sacred words. Then, he spoke. "This child belongs to Adaku, daughter of Mazi Okafor," he declared. Gasps erupted, and her mother, Ebere, was part of it. The Igwe's face darkened. "Summon them at once." At Mazi Okafor's compound, the palace guards arrived. "We bring a message from the Igwe," the head guard announced. Mazi Okafor frowned. "What is the matter?" "The king has summoned the presence of your wife, Ebere," the guard stated. Ebere, who had been sitting quietly, looked up in shock. "Me?" Her co-wives gasped, exchanging curious glances. Mazi Okafor turned to the guards. "What has she done?" "The Igwe only asked for her presence," the guard replied. Suspicion filled Mazi Okafor's mind. He had no idea what could have happened, but something in the guard's tone unsettled him. "I will come along," he declared. Ebere hesitated, her heart pounding, but she had no choice but to follow. Her co-wives whispered among themselves. What could she have done? As they approached the palace, a large crowd had already gathered. Whispers filled the air as the villagers watched them enter. Inside, the Igwe sat on his high throne, his expression unreadable. Mazi Okafor stepped forward and bowed. "My king, you summoned my wife. May we know the reason?" The Igwe's gaze was piercing. "A child was found abandoned in the bush," it said. "Through the wisdom of the gods, it has been revealed that the child belongs to Adaku, your daughter." Gasps filled the hall. Mazi Okafor's head snapped toward Ebere. "What?" Ebere trembled, her knees growing weak. "My king, you and your daughter left an innocent child to die," the Igwe interrupted. "And now, you must face judgment." Mazi Okafor took a step back in disbelief. His other wives covered their mouths in shock. Without another word, he and his other wives walked out of the palace, leaving Ebere to her fate. Adaku had run deep into the night. She had no clear direction, no plan. She only knew one thing: she had to escape. Her fate carried her far from the village center, to the outskirts where the huts were fewer. Then, suddenly, she stopped. Before her stood a small, lonely hut. She knew this place. It belonged to Ifesinachi. A sharp pain twisted in Adaku's chest. Ifesi had once been her best friend. But after Ifesi's accident, Adaku abandoned her, ashamed of her scars. Now, after all these years, Adaku stood before the same hut, seeking help. She tapped on the window. "Who is there?" Ifesi whispered, fear in her voice. "It's me, Adaku." Silence. "Ifesi, please," Adaku begged. "Open the door for me." Hesitantly, Ifesi opened the door. But the next morning, Ifesi heard the village gossip. They are looking for Adaku. They say she abandoned a baby. Red boiled inside Ifesi. Adaku had used her. She walked toward the village square and saw two palace guards. "Come with me," she said. "I know where to find Adaku." Minutes later, the guards burst into the hut. "Ifesi," Adaku cried, "you betrayed me." Ifesi's face was emotionless. "You left me when I needed you most. Now, you need me. But I don't owe you anything." As Adaku was dragged away, Ifesi turned her back. This time, it was Adaku who was abandoned. Back at the palace, the Igwe rose from his throne. "Ebere and Adaku," he declared, "you have committed an unforgivable crime. By the laws of this land, you are both banished. From this day forth, you shall never return." Cries filled the hall as mother and daughter fell to their knees, begging for mercy. But the Igwe's judgment was final. That evening, as the sun set, Adaku and Ebere walked out of the village with nothing but the clothes on their backs.